You know when Emmerdale throws a week at us that makes you sit forward, grip the arm of the sofa and mutter, "Oh no, not again"? That's exactly what we're heading into. Monday, 1st September, to Friday 5th, the village is about to be torn apart by betrayal, secrets, and danger that creeps far too close to home. When I first saw what's coming, I'll be honest, it floored me. Aaron ends up in terrifying territory thanks to John. Paddy stumbles across something he can't unknow. Tracy starts piecing together the truth about Nate. And April, poor April, finds herself caught in a world that no child should ever be near. So, let's break it all down, spoiler by spoiler, because these next 4 are the kind that get everyone talking in the pub afterwards. And trust me, when we get to the 4th one, it'll leave you absolutely shaken. So stay with me right through this video. And before we get stuck in, make sure you're subscribed to Episode Whisper and tap that little bell icon so you don't miss a single twist when the drama kicks off next week. 1. Paddy Dingle drugged by John Sugden after emotional Robert moment. Now, let's start with Aaron because this one's heartbreaking and scary all at once. So, Aaron's still trying to convince himself that things with John are fine. He's putting on a brave face, downplaying all the red flags, even though you can tell he knows something isn't right. And bless Chas, she spots it straight away when they sit down for lunch. Only a mother notices that look in her son's eyes, doesn't she? But John, he's unraveling. He hears whispers about Mackenzie being missing, panics, and comes up with excuses to scuttle off. You can see Aaron clocking how odd he's behaving, but he doesn't quite push back hard enough. And then there's Robert. Oh, Robert. You know the second his name is mentioned, sparks are coming. The tension between Aaron and Robert has never gone away, and next week it all bubbles back up. Robert turns up at just the wrong time, or maybe the right time, depending how you see it, and tries to stop Aaron from making what he thinks is a huge mistake. And then comes the kiss. Here's what matters: the moment Robert leans in, Aaron doesn't pull back. You can almost feel years of history flooding between them. Viewers are going to be screaming at the screen, wondering if Aaron's about to throw it all away with John. But John isn't stupid, he senses the shift. Jealousy takes over, and this is where it gets really dark. Back at the cottage, John sets up his plan. He spikes a glass of whiskey, acting all caring, coaxing Aaron into drinking it. And the scariest part, Aaron doesn't even realize what's happening. One glass and he's woozy, but before John can control the situation, Aaron pours himself another from the same bottle. The danger doubles without him knowing. You're just sitting there, praying someone comes through the door or Aaron catches on, but deep down you know he won't. Bottom line, Aaron's life is literally in John's hands, and if Paddy or Robert don't twig soon, it could be too late. 2. Paddy Dingle has a grim realization now, on to Paddy. And if you've been watching him lately, you know he's been a bit out of sorts, trying to keep busy, throwing himself into the helpline work and muddling through family chaos. Next week, though, Paddy stumbles across something that makes his blood run cold. We don't get the full picture straight away, but all the hints suggest he's connecting the dots about John. Remember a while back, when Paddy unknowingly spoke to John online? That guilt-ridden confession that didn't make sense at the time. It's all starting to click, and the realization is sickening. Because once Paddy puts 2 and 2 together, it's not just about the danger in the village. It's personal. His own son-in-law Aaron is right there in the firing line. This is the kind of moment where you can almost picture Paddy's face crumpling, that mix of dread and determination. We've seen him in these spots before, when he's helpless but desperate to act. It hits different this time because it's not a stranger at risk, it's Aaron. And you can't help but think, is Paddy going to march straight over and confront John, or will he try to quietly piece things together? Knowing Paddy, he'll probably wrestle with it first, but time isn't on his side. This could really shake things up, especially if Paddy starts shouting his suspicions before he's got solid proof. The Dingles don't exactly take accusations lightly, and if he missteps, John might slip through the cracks again. 3. Tracy Robinson starts doubting Nate's murder story. Tracy's scenes next week are going to hit hard. You can really feel the weight she's carrying, the sadness over Nate, the pressure of raising a child on her own, and that constant question of whether she's strong enough to get through it. It's the kind of grief that doesn't just vanish, and it makes her second-guess herself at every turn. You can't help but feel for her, because she's clearly doing her best while falling apart inside. Then along comes Liam, trying to be supportive in his own way. He casually points out that it never quite added up how Nate was supposedly overpowered, and that's enough to switch something on in Tracy's head. Once you hear something like that, you can't unhear it. Suddenly, what felt like tragic bad luck starts to look suspicious. And here's where it gets interesting, because once you've got that doubt, everything else starts to seem off. Charity opens up to her about Mac leaving with just a voice note, and Tracy notices the pattern straight away. It's too similar to how Nate vanished. It's those little details soaps love to drop in, the ones that start small but snowball into something massive. You can see Tracy's instincts kicking in. She's not just wallowing anymore, she's thinking, questioning, piecing it together. And the brave bit is she actually voices it. She says out loud that something doesn't add up, and that's a big step for her. Most characters would keep it bottled up, but Tracy isn't afraid to face the uncomfortable truth. Of course, all signs point in one direction: John. We've seen how dangerous he is, but Tracy's only just starting to sniff it out. The thought of her poking around while John's still free to move about the village is terrifying. He's already proved how ruthless he can be, and the last thing anyone wants is for Tracy to draw his attention. But at the same time, she could be the one to finally crack the case wide open. Soaps love a grieving widow turning detective, and it looks like Tracy could be stepping into that role. It's risky, but if anyone's got the guts to push through the fear for the sake of justice, it's her. It's got that same energy as when Debbie realized Cameron wasn't who he seemed. A proper slow burn reveal that builds tension week by week. Long-term viewers will definitely get a sense of deja vu, and that's what makes it so gripping. You know where it could lead, but you're still desperate to watch it unfold. Honestly, I can't believe the show's daring to take Tracy down this road, but it makes sense. She's been through heartbreak, she's been silenced by grief, and now she's slowly finding her voice again. If Nate's ever going to get justice, Tracy might be the one to deliver it. And that could set off a chain reaction of drama the whole village will feel. 4. April Windsor terrified after drop goes wrong, and finally April. Now this storyline has been quietly building. But next week it explodes into something properly dangerous. Ray's pulling strings, manipulating the younger ones, and Dylan should have been the one running this dodgy errand. But April steps up instead, trying to protect him. She's only a kid, and yet she ends up in a dark car park, face to face with a hooded bloke demanding the bag, and it gets worse. He pulls a knife. The fear April must feel in that moment, it's sickening. She hands over the drugs, shaken to her core. And Dylan does his best to comfort her. But let's be honest, nothing about this is okay. What's chilling is how Ray will react. April and Dylan meet him in the woods to confess the drugs are gone, and you just know his temper is going to flare. April's caught in this horrible web where she can't tell the adults what's going on without making things worse. But every step deeper she takes, the more dangerous it becomes. And here's the bit that sticks with you: April's still just a teenager. We've watched her grow up on screen, seen her cheeky side, her vulnerable side. To suddenly see her mixed up in knives and drugs because of a manipulative villain like Ray, it's brutal. You can't help but fear this could be the storyline that defines her for years to come. So, that's next week lined up in Emmerdale. Aaron at the mercy of John's twisted control, Paddy realizing the truth might be right under his nose, Tracy starting to question Nate's so-called murder, and April staring down a knife because of Ray. Each of these threads is dangerous on its own, but together, the village feels like it's heading straight for an explosion. And what's fascinating is how connected they all are. John's shadow is everywhere, in Aaron's pain, in Paddy's panic, in Tracy's suspicions. Ray's wreaking havoc in his own corner, dragging kids into his world. It's messy, it's emotional, and it's going to keep people glued to the screen. I'll be watching every single night with the same mix of excitement and dread, because let's be honest, this is Emmerdale at its darkest best. Before I go, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Aaron and Robert could actually reunite after everything? Will Tracy be the one to finally expose John? And is April heading down a path she might never recover from? Drop your thoughts in the comments, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed chatting through the spoilers. And of course, hit subscribe so you're always in the loop when the next batch of drama drops. Thanks for sticking with me, and get ready, because next week in Emmerdale looks absolutely unmissable.